Hi, I'm writer-artist Michael S Garner, and I write and draw a online comic book. I create it, do everything for it, called Visions of the New. You can check it out at visionsofthenew.com. Also, I like to comment and review certain comic book related movies and TV shows, and today we are actually going to talk about one that's going to kind of be a touchy subject, and I didn't even think it was going to be a touchy subject, which is the premiere of Black Lightning Resurrection. And this show kind of caught me off guard this time because I didn't expect it to go where it went. God, if you haven't seen it, stop this video and watch the show. It's worth watching in my opinion. I actually, just to put it right out there, I liked it. I like most CW shows. I had problems with certain ones, Legends of Tomorrow, when Supergirl stomps on Superman. But yes, this show is... for me, it feels like a little bit of a game changer. I haven't seen anything like this on the CW before, and I've been watching the CW since it was the WB. I've been watching basically every comic book related TV show, from Birds of Prey to Smallville to everything to Buffy, where it all began. And I just finally got to watch Black Lightning the other night, and like I said, it kind of shocked me, but made me kind of like happy that they went there. And, well, first of all, I just want to mention, basically about this episode is that we find a Black Lightning who is a bit older and is now a teacher. And he retired from being Black Lightning because basically being Black Lightning took away his life, took away his family, broke apart his family. And it just, it caused him a lot of stress. And he felt that being Black Lightning was literally what Superman would say, the never-ending battle. And this is him dealing with the increasing violence and gang ownership of his city. I think it was called Freeland, and which basically sounds like Cleveland. But I had not read too many of the Black Lightning comic books, but I have read him when he was in the Justice League, and I know of him. I know of his daughters and what happens with them, but I don't believe that all of this happened in the comic book. And either way, I'm kind of glad they went there. And that's why I know it's kind of a touchy subject, and I just want to actually say something about it, though. The first thing was the community that they lived in. They went through what the bad parts were very quickly, and you got a very good sense in the first 5 minutes of the show that it was different, that it was going to go there. And it depicted the brutality and in just a scary way of everything that's happened with I'm not going to say Black Lives Matter, but with things where being racially profiled, all these subjects were brought out in this one episode, and that's what threw me back. I didn't know they were going to go that deep into it. I thought it was, I don't even want to say it was heavy-handed, but it didn't really let go of that. It kept it through the whole episode. And I know some people are probably going to be turned off from that, and I purposely didn't watch any reviews of the show because of that. I didn't want to be affected by what other reviews would have said about the show. I just wanted to take it in. I watched it twice. I watched it again just a few minutes ago, and just to reflect back, and it just kind of, it still took me back, and it still had that superhero quality in it, but just some things I just had to mention. I got about 12 quick things here I'm going to go through. It's just one thing I wasn't expecting was, well, the one bad thing, actually, I'm going to go through. I was going to go through a list of good and bad, but there's only a couple of bad things that I just didn't really like. The main actor who plays Black Lightning right away. I think he's a good actor. I've seen him in other things, but it just feels like his voice was so theatrical in this episode that it took me out just a little bit whenever he was on screen. He's the main guy, and I feel bad for that. But I always compare it to... I was a big Star Trek fan, Star Trek Next Generation at least, and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. And on Deep Space Nine, the person who played Benjamin Sisko, I felt the exact same way about him when they first casted him. When I saw him in the first episode, it was kind of like he was just a little bit more in a theater mode than anybody else in the cast. And his voice was, the voice is supposed to be recognizable and supposed to hit you, but it was a little too much for me. Even I watched Deep Space Nine, and I felt the same way from day one that I felt at the very end of Deep Space Nine. And that's kind of how I felt when I heard this guy's voice playing Black Lightning. this kind of took me out a little bit, but I still thought that he did a good job, and it kind of like it gave more weight to the ending of the actual episode. What else? I love his ex-wife, the actress who plays her. I thought that she did a really good job. You got the relationship very quickly with them. It flowed really well. I thought that they worked together really well, and I really love her as an actress. I love what she did with the role. It's kind of like, all right, Netflix is supposed to be, just to compare this a little bit to Luke Cage, Netflix is supposed to be that gritty, realistic version of the Marvel comic book universe. I felt that this was like that, if not more, especially more than Luke Cage. I had issues with Luke Cage, almost like everybody did towards the middle, but I even had it in the beginning of the series. But this one seemed to take all of that and just go, whoa, we're just gonna throw it right at you. The scene where he actually gets pulled over with his kids and they basically racial profile him because they think that he might have robbed a store. It was like, and he made the very good point of like, okay, so the getaway person was driving a Volvo and he was wearing a 4-piece suit like me. No, it wasn't that. It was the fact that he was black. That floored me that they even did that scene in this series. It's just like Luke Cage on steroids, in my opinion, until you get to the costume. Don't mind the costume. I'm not going to go there yet. Going to keep going through my list because it's really hard to put this one together. The main villain, I actually felt physically afraid of him in this. I didn't think I would. The actor who did that did a really good job, and especially I'm going to skip right down to a couple things on here. When he had the interaction with that kid who was basically playing on his phone instead of doing what he was supposed to, and it got really scary, it got really heated, where you thought that he was going to hit that kid right in front of Black Lightning being the principal, and I was thrown back by that. I'm like, they just keep going. They don't stop with this series. They take it there. You have some moments of lightness, but they took everything there in this series. In this one episode. I'm talking about series. This one damn episode. I can't even wait to what's going to happen for next week. But yeah, that kid situation, it was uncomfortable to watch it and how it escalated. Oh, God. Next thing would be, at first, even when the trailer came out, I didn't like the fact that he had a cybernetic costume. Because in the comic books, it was basically, spandex, whatever it may be, Kevlar. And that was it. And they actually paid a little bit of a homage to that when they showed a scene where there was an older black gentleman who had a VHS tape from a security camera in a store that he was running when he got robbed one time and he got saved by Black Lightning. When Black Lightning showed up, this was obviously like over 10 years ago, he had the costume from the comic book. The original costume. Well, not exactly the original costume, but the one that was more recently in the Justice League before the 52 came around. And I was like, I thought that looked good. But then we got to the robotic costume. and like, just like the trailer, I was kind of like, I didn't think it looked awful, but it's kind of like when I had the problem with Iron Spider-Man. He didn't need it. But he did need it for being bulletproof. And as the story progressed, they gave the reasons for that costume. And I actually like the reasons that they gave for the costume. It makes him a little bit more cumbersome, though. I mean, like, he can't really, like, he's doing kicks and he's flipping all over the place. And I know that the suit's probably augmenting his strength a bit more. But it just seemed like it was a bit clumsy. Like, I don't see how he's going to be able to fight crime like that. Because he's supposed to be like a Batman-like type fighter with the electrical powers on top of that. And I just thought that the costume kind of makes him confined a little bit. But I'm sure that they're going to slim it down and everything like that throughout the series. But that just wasn't the important part. Just other things, like his relationship with his two daughters. I really like that relationship and the dynamic and the differences between the two daughters, how they depicted it in the series. And just the scary situations that they got into in this first episode and the progression of them. They're really strong characters, but they were in a situation which they could not handle. And just seeing them cry in a room at the end when they were captured by the main villains, it was like, whoa, this is real. Not real, but you know what I mean. It's edging. I haven't seen anything like this on the CW. As far as this type of content, there have been very dark moments in CW series way back when, all the way to now. But this is it's different. I've never seen it like this. And you know what, actually? I keep thinking about Mantis. This is like Mantis before Mantis got changed over. Mantis was basically Black Panther in New York or something like that. But he had a suit and everything like that. It was kind of like this. And that's an old TV series from like the 80s / 90s. You can look it up. The daughters, they did a really good job of them going back to them. And the only thing that I was waiting for in the episode was that I know, spoiler alert right here, just a little bit, that in the comic books, the daughters actually have powers. And I was waiting for that to come out. Excuse me. And the fact that they actually had the older daughter display that power at the end, it finally came out of her. She let out her rage enough so that it brought out those powers. I'm like, yes, we're going to get them. We're going to get them. Black Lightning has 2 daughters. That is something I can't wait to see. And the only other complaint I can think about the series, that wasn't a complaint that I just did, but the complaint that just came to my head, is Black Lightning standing on the top of the roof of the hotel building after he beat the crap out of everybody in there to save his kids. He was standing right on a rooftop, and we're supposed to believe that nobody saw him standing on the rooftop. That was a little odd. But it was just the whole, superhero stance. He's there, Black Lightning, everything like that. And going off my notes completely, I know some people might be like, well, the music was too on point. It was talking about, oh, Black Lightning's back, blah, 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 blah. These are things I'm guessing people are going to have a problem with this. I had no problem with that at all. I appreciate what they're trying to do with this series. I don't know how they're going to do a whole season like this. It's going to progress to something else. And from what I know, we still don't know if it's what part of the CW universe it is. Does this somehow exist in Supergirl's dimension? Or does this exist in the Arrow dimension? I'm assuming it's going to be the Arrow and it has nothing to do with Supergirl's tone. I'm just assuming it's going to be in the Arrow universe. But I can't wait for the future of the show. And I hope that this works and this doesn't become one of the first failures from the Berlantiverse. The one who is basically heading all of these DC CW shows. Because this is a different one, and I think this is kind of a game changer for CW as far as the shows are concerned. Because this one is completely different in what I think is a good way. And I can't wait to see future episodes of the show. So, all right, that's me. Off my little soapbox. Like I said, this thing took me back. In this case, I like the show. I hope you guys like it too, but if you don't, if you have any comments or anything like that, just put it down there. I just want to know what other people think about this one. Like I said, I haven't watched any reviews since it came out, and I'm shocked and surprised and happy about it. I'm happy they went there. And if you do want to check out my segue all this out, my online comic book, Visions of the New at visionsofthenew.com. You can check it out there as PDF version, everything like that. Haven't put up anything in a very long time, but I've been working all this time on getting so many issues out that I can release them in a timely manner. And I'm glad to say that I'm reaching the end of that road with how many issues I want to have in my back pocket before I put them out. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. And next time, talk about Supergirl, I guess. She's back too.